Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we have a review of MAFEX Batman from Hush. And this is a figure that I had pre-ordered, or had on pre-order, I think during COVID when this thing first dropped, and I canceled my pre-order. I had a lot of stuff in pre-order at the time. With COVID going on, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So here I am many years later, and I just received this. I've been out of town for a bit, and I got them finally. I think this might be like version 2. It doesn't really say, but it's like the second wave, I think, release of this figure, I believe. But yeah, Hush is a love story by a lot of people. You know, I have it in combined form here, and it's a great story. It's not my favorite Batman story, but I do like it a lot. I love Loeb's work, and of course Jim Lee. And we're going to try and strike some of these poses with this figure, see if we can get this, like a pose like that. There's some really awesome artwork from Jim Lee in this saga, and I love blue and gray Batman. It's my favorite Batman, blue and gray. Love it. So I'm excited for this. Let's take a closer look. This figure's been around for a while, so you may have seen a lot of reviews on this, but here we are, in 2025 of April, looking at this figure that obviously by popular demand has had another rerun, and there's another one in pre-order with BBTS right now. So a very popular figure. Good to see MAFEX shipping more of these out. But he comes with like 3 head sculpts, or maybe 4, I'm not sure, 3 or 4, some batarangs, a bunch of hands. It's a cloth cape. We'll get into that. I know cloth holds up better. It's not my favorite look for Batman. I prefer the leathery looking cape, but we know as toy collectors that leathery stuff, that faux leather doesn't last as long. So I've seen some awesome shots of this guy on Instagram, and so I know it's going to be a fantastic figure. But man, this box is awesome. Batman Hush, MAFEX, Metacom toy. There's the top of it. Look at that. Look at that look with the batarangs in his hand. Here's a side shot. Oh man, that is really cool stuff. Number 105. So this is an older figure. I couldn't find a date on this box anywhere. I mean, there's got to be a date, but I just could not find one. So I have no idea what year this came out. Like I said, it was COVID originally. So, sometime around then, 3 or 4 years ago. But man, look at some of these poses. It's almost like a Spidey pose. Yeah, that, man. It is a great looking figure. And I do have some Metacom MAFEX stuff. I'm not collecting as much because their prices have jumped sky high. They're out of control, in my opinion. It's not just inflation. Something else is going on with MAFEX. But regardless, this is an older figure. We'll go over price of what I paid for this and what it's going for now on retailers. It's going to blow you away. All right, let's get this guy unboxed and take a closer look. I can't wait. Okay, and real quick, it comes with this little certifying genuine product book to show that this is a certified product. It's not a bootleg, anything like that. And I wanted to show real quick if I could. Inside, there's that awesome artwork, or the panel I showed you from going through the air. It's kind of hard to tell with the plastic, but there's some artwork from the comic inside the box, which is awesome. So yeah, without further ado, here is Batman from Hush, from Metacom, MAFEX, and everything it comes with. I've got the comic book back there just to display during this review. But yeah, man, I love that the cape is super long. It's over length, which is how Jim Lee drew that cape, over, flowing, almost like McFarlane with Spidey's webs, like just a lot of it everywhere. That's how Jim drew the cape for Batman, and they did a great job of recreating that for this figure. So he comes with a lot of stuff for the price point, in my opinion. So here's the stand, and one thing that's lacking with a lot of Japanese releases is the stands are always generic. I like Hot Toys and Mezco. They give you a stand based on the character with the name. This is just a plastic stand. And it comes with this thing, and it's just this display. Like if it has like an accessory piece, you can display it. For Batman, not sure what you would put on this post, if anything, but they come with it. And then it comes with the waist grabber here. And then I don't know if the original one came with this, because I think this is a newer thing with MAFEX. But these connect together here to give you, if you want to have them up in the air, it will go underneath his crotch there to support the figure better when you have them up in the air. So that's kind of cool. And these pop out like so. So it's got some of that. And I'm not sure what this one's for. I can't remember, but it comes with this piece as well. If you know what that's for, let me know in the comments. I can't remember. It might not be something for this Batman. And then he comes with 4 batarangs. Silver batarangs. They're painted really nice. 2 different types, which I love. This is kind of the older school look, and the newer ones here. And then I love how Metacom gives the hands on little posts, so you can kind of keep them organized, which is really nice. And these ones here come with the grapnel gun, which is how it looked in Hush. And you can put this end of the grapple, it will actually slide in. This is like metal, I think it's a metal end, so just be careful with it. But it slides in like that. So how cool is that? That's really cool, really cool. And then you get some grasping hands. You get these ones are for holding the wire, I believe. They can also be fists, but they're for holding the wire, I think. And then here's the cool ones with the batarangs. Yeah, that's a cool look. There's a couple panels there in the comic with him holding batarangs like that. And then you have these ones, maybe holding a batarang. And then you have the open splayed hands here. And then he comes with 2 fists. And then here is a grapnel that's been shot out of the gun on a long line. And this is metal. This is a pretty thick gauge wire, metal wire. So it's not going to droop on you, which is kind of cool they did that. And then here are the extra head sculpts, which look fantastic. We'll of course put them on. There's the Bruce Wayne head sculpt, looks really good. And then there's the Angry Batman head sculpt. Looks fantastic. But let us take a closer look now at the figure. And man, that look right there is fantastic. What a great looking cowl. I prefer the longer ears for Batman, but with this story, with the way Jim Lee drew it, there's not much you can complain about. A cowl does look kind of goofy back here. I'm not used to that, but it's to give you better articulation with the head, so I get it. You can even see the ears right there a little bit behind the cowl. The white eyes, which is my favorite. I love blue and gray Batman. It's my all-time favorite look. Of course, I love Keaton too, that look, but if I had my druthers, I would pick blue and gray all day long. And then there is the bat symbol, very stylized on the Hush comic book, the way Jim Lee drew it. Defined really nice. Muscle definition is done really well in this figure. I love the big, chunky yellow belt. And it is, while it's a little loose, it is stuck somewhere. I haven't looked at the back yet. It is like connected back here, so you can't really move it. And mine's not really straight, unless I got to move the torso a bit. Yeah, maybe the torso's off on mine. But I love that big chunky yellow bat belt. Probably my favorite looking bat belt. And then look at the muscle definition. And then his boots. And he has a tread, just like he had in the panels you saw in the comics. And then this cape has got quite a few wires. It's got wires on the outside, and then it's got a wire here and a wire here. So a total of 4 wires. One place it's not got wires is down below. But as you can see, this cape is just massive. It's a huge cape, which is accurate to the way Lee drew them. So, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of cloth capes for Batman. I prefer the leathery look, but I will say this one does look and feel nice on this figure. So that's pretty cool. Let's go over articulation. Most MAFEX figures have really good articulation. As you can see here, his head, while I can't really, the head and neck have a ball joint, so you can look down pretty good. He can look up really good, which is great for coming down. You can tilt his head sideways, all different ways. The arms go up really easy. And MAFEX always has nice buttery joints, which I love. And you can see the joint there. And he has bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which go really far, and then ball hinge wrist pegs. And then the upper torso has a ball joint, which moves really good. And there's also a ball joint at the waist, so he can bend over great, and he can also bend back really good. So we'll be able to get some dynamic poses with this figure, which is awesome. MAFEX does a great job of articulation. The legs do drop down. That's going to allow you to do more poses. That allows you to get the legs over 90. And then double jointed knees. And man, every MAFEX knee I've ever messed with is buttery smooth. It's a great joint. And that looks really good for the knee. There it looks from the outside. And then the boots are a ball hinge, and they have great rocker. And they have toe articulation as well. Not a huge fan of toe articulation, but it's fine. I'm not going to complain about it. But yeah, the rocker on these boots is great. So we're going to probably be able to get some great poses out of this Batman figure. We might even be able to get a hero landing pose. And the arms do drop down, as you can see here. And there is a butterfly joint. So you can really get, we might be able to cross his arms. Let's see here. Can we cross his arms? Yeah, we pretty much can cross Batman's arms. It never looks really good when a figure does it, but you can definitely... you know, if I ever play with this more, you could get his arms crossed, making him look really cool. Yeah, look at that. Man, that cowl. Let's zoom in and take a look at that cowl. And there's a subtle dry brushing on the cowl. There's darker parts on it by the nose, by the eyes. The eyebrows, you can see the darker paint. Man. I'm glad I finally got this figure. I have to move the comic book because it's losing focus. It was kind of a cool touch, but yeah, look at that. Let's change out the cowl now. Oh, the whole neck just came out. So as you can see, it's a ball joint. Let's try the Bruce Wayne neck now and see what happens. That went in really easy. So does the Bruce Wayne head look a little small? Boy, it's hard. MAFEX, a lot of times the torsos get uneven. As you can see here, I've got his torso all whacked out. It happened with my Iron Man quite a bit too. I think the Bruce Wayne head sculpt looks good. It could be because the cape is just so overwhelmingly big and tall. But there's the Bruce Wayne head sculpt. It's very faithful to the comic. There's a little bit of blue highlights up in the hair, which I love when they have black hair. They do blue highlights like that in the comics. You can see the blue throughout. A very stylized version based off the comic, which, man, that is fantastic. It's a little glossy. I think it should be a little bit more matte, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Let's go in, let's zoom in really close here. I have a little bit of paint defect up there in the forehead. You can see it now, zoomed in this close. But yeah, overall, that's a great look. Let me pull this back out, see if I can get this off and get the other head on. Real quick, if you've never seen a Mezco ball joint for the head, they angle the ball joint back. That way, for characters that fly or that are jumping around, you can get the head to go back even farther, which is a really cool design by Mezco, or by MAFEX. I might be saying Mezco, I mean MAFEX. And then there's this look here. Man, look at that. Look at that. Imagine being in Gotham City, you're a criminal or a supervillain. You're down a dark alley, it's raining, there's thunder, and the lightning flashes, and you see this real quick for a second, facing you. And talk about the fear Batman inflicts on his enemies. Man. I don't know which head sculpt I like better, because I think they're both awesome. Let me zoom in really close on this one. And you can see it's almost like purple, like his lips are almost purple. And again, it could be stylized based on the comic, but man, that is really good. I'm super close right now, so back out a little bit. Fantastic. What a fantastic looking figure. And then with, Hush, he has this like thing around the cowl, which it's not my favorite look, but it's okay. It looks good. But yeah, man, the blue and the gray, that black bat symbol, that yellow chunky belt. What an awesome look this is. Let's try and strike some poses now. Okay, this isn't anything crazy by any means, but you can see by minimal posing, how awesome you can make this figure look. I barely did anything. I just pulled the cape over his left side to cover his arm, half his body. He's looking down. He's got a fist made. It's like he just beat up the Joker or something, or punched Hush in the face, and he's standing over him. Man, that is awesome. All right, so this is the pose I'm trying to recreate as close as possible. He's got his grappling gun shot out with a wire. He's pulling it, and here's what we got. Pretty close, in my opinion. I got to do some futzing with it, but overall, this is pretty much what he looks like. Even has his hand on the wire there. But yeah, look at how cool that is. Look at how that cape stays with the wire. That gauge wire in the cape is really thick, so it really holds the cape up nice. Man, look at that. That is fantastic. So yeah, you can really get some dynamic poses with this guy. Check that out, man. It's like borderline Spider-Man. Super cool. Yeah, let's try another one. Okay, here's Bruce doing somewhat of a hero pose, landing from up high, and he doesn't strike the hero pose maybe as good as, say, this Iron Man does, but as you can see, it's pretty close. I think his arm needs to come out more in order to land properly, but still, you can make him look really awesome with, if you change the head sculpt to the angry one, the cape is up in the air. And as strong as those wires here are, I don't see gravity bringing that cape down. If you wanted to pose them like this in one of your shelves or something, you could absolutely do so. But yeah, man, look at that. I can see why this figure is so popular. One, it's Batman. Two, it's Hush. And three, MAFEX did a great job at making this figure. Top notch. All right, here's one with Bruce with the batarangs and his knuckles, kind of holding his cape out. Yeah, you can get all sorts of poses with this guy. Really cool stuff. Excellent. All right, check this out. I'm having a fun time posing this guy, and man, you can really get some dynamic stuff going, and the cape makes it look even more dynamic too, which is fantastic. But here he's got his grapple gun out. He's jumping through the air, ready to attach it to a building to pull himself up. Man, you get that cape going all sorts of different ways. While this figure looks great just standing and brooding like Batman does, I think this figure really lends itself to dynamic displays of the cape. Something like this in your detolf will really make people's eyes catch it, instead of just standing there like a museum pose. As cool as that looks. People complain about museum poses, but man, I think some museum poses for certain figures look fantastic. Batman being one of them. But this figure is just begging you to do something like this with it. Let that cape get exposed, show how big it is. Yeah, just totally show off this figure. Okay, now I've added the longer line onto this, as you can see, because that thick metal wire, the gauge of that metal wire, it holds perfectly. It's not drooping from gravity. I will say you have to get a little screwdriver like this to tighten up the screws in the flight arm, because they come loose and the weight of this figure will make them fall. So get a little screwdriver, tighten up these bolts here, or these screws at these bendable points. Once you get where you want it, tighten it up, and it should hold just fine for you. As you can see, man, this is just a fantastic figure. Awesome figure. Glad I finally got it. Let's just go with some comparisons. All right, here's MAFEX Batman Hush next to Muff Toys Superman Clark Kent and McFarlane Toys Riddler. And I think he's a bit small for both of these figures. Although, yeah, I think he's just a bit too small for this Clark Kent and for Riddler, but they still are cool side by side. And here he is next to a couple of Mezco Batmans, the Gotham by Gaslight Batman and the Supreme Night Batman, the blue and gray version. I think he's a bit small as well. His head is small, is the thing, compared to these other figures. And maybe that's just how he was drawn in the comic, but his head does appear to be a bit small. I feel like all the heads that came with this MAFEX figure could be a tad bit bigger on the figure, but I think I'm kind of nitpicking at that point. It's pretty good. Here he is next to a MAFEX Invincible Iron Man. Absolutely love that figure, and that's a little bit more in touch. In fact, he's almost as tall as the MAFEX Iron Man, which I think side by side they look good. Well, I don't have any other MAFEX DC figures. I have a bunch of Marvel ones, but yeah, so they look pretty good side by side. Okay, at the end of the day, is this figure worth it? Well, let's talk about that because the price has gone up. When I ordered this thing, pre-ordered a few months ago, and I think, like I said, this is like wave 2 of this figure, whatever. I got it on Big Bad Toy Store for $79.99. It is now up for pre-order again, coming April 2025 from Big Bad Toy Store for $94.99. So they raised the price up on this figure significantly. And if you look at MAFEX prices across the board, almost all the new figures here in America are like 115, 110. So for me, it's getting to the point where MAFEX is getting a little greedy. And I understand inflation. I don't think that's what this is with MAFEX because I haven't seen other companies jump prices like MAFEX has over the past 3 or 4 months. With that said, you can get some of these overseas from like places like Plaza Japan. I will say this guy is sold out in Plaza Japan. So you may be limited. Maybe Ami has them, I'm not sure. But if you want to get this from BBTS, you're going to pay another 15 bucks now for him, which is disappointing because I know with the Boba Fett's, they had kept those prices down for a long time as well. I have both of those from Empire and Return, and they came back in stock and they were still like 60 bucks. I don't know if those have jumped, but seeing this one jump for the exact same figure by 15 bucks is disappointing to say the least. If anyone knows why that happened, let me know. But I think it's crappy that a figure this old, they decided to up the pricing on it. So let me know what you guys think. I am extremely satisfied with this figure. I'm so glad I finally got him. He's going to look great for some pictures. He's very articulated very well. You can get some really great looks from him. I think they did a great job of capturing Jim Lee's work in the comic and bringing it out in figure form here. So fantastic. And I'm sure you watch other reviews, you probably hear the same thing. This is a very popular figure and I get why now. I get it. While I'm not a huge fan of the cloth cape, it does work well. The wire in it is great and you can get some really dynamic poses with this figure. So let me know what you guys think. Give me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, this has been Batman Hush from MAFEX. Thanks for watching.